Hello everybody. Well, in my desk drawer, these have been sitting here since 2010 in my desk drawer. You know, some of it was used occasionally, but these are basically 10-year-old sprouting seeds. So we've got a radish mix, again from October 10th, 2010. We've got mung bean from November 10th, November of 2010. Okay, use some of those. Broccoli, let's see, that says somewhere. It said 2010, so oh, it's on the back. Alright, yeah, there it is. Yep, 6/3/2010. And we've got alfalfa. I can't see that date in here, but I know I got that in 2010 too. So will these sprout after 10 years? Because if they do, that tells you that this is a pretty good long-term storage food. I mean, that would be pretty awesome, right? Now, I already did this a few months ago, so I kind of have an idea of how it might go, but we'll see what happens this time. So I'll follow all the basic directions of sprouting seeds out of canning jars here, or mason jars. And let's see what they do. I will label each one of the jars so it's clearly, and then we'll go through each day of the process of sprouting, and let's see what happens. So this should be interesting. Okay, we're back, so about ready to turn in for the night. So now we're going to start our process. So we're going to just add water and let the seeds soak overnight. So first we've got radish. Got 2 tablespoons in each just to kind of standardize everything. So we're just going to add some water and just let it soak. Alright, so there's radish. Next we've got broccoli. So we'll add some water. Alright, there's some broccoli. And next we've got alfalfa. These are really small seeds. Alright, there's some alfalfa. Put this there. And I'll put over here. Alright, and lastly we have mung bean. These are the largest seeds. And there's mung bean. 10 years old, all of these. So we're going to let it soak overnight, then we will drain them and rinse them out several times in the morning. Alright, and you will not have it in water, you'll just rinse it out several times and put it on its side, put it in a dark place, and you do the same thing again in the evening. So I'll check in with again tomorrow evening after the second rinse through, and we'll see if we can see anything starting to sprout by then. Alright, hello, we're back. Alright, so this is after the first 24 hours. Let's take a look. Now the mung beans, I'm definitely seeing some tails starting to form. So we're starting to see some tails, not nearly all of them, but there's definitely some forming. The broccoli, don't really see too much yet. Maybe a tail or two. Don't see too much yet. Okay, alfalfa. Again, I'm not seeing too much in the alfalfa yet. So I'm not sure if I really see any tails or not. And then our radishes. I see maybe a couple little tails, not too much yet. So we will see. So what we do is we simply will now rinse a few times. So rinse. Pour it out, do this about 3 times for each one of these, and then try to get all the water out. And then I set it on its side till the next morning. So I'm going to spare you watching this for all 3 of them, but all 4 of them, but that's what we're doing. Yeah. So we're just going to try to get all the water out of that. Alright, so we'll check back in the morning and see what's happened. Or actually tomorrow evening we'll check back in. Okay, it is the next night, so let's take a look. I just filled them with water. It's easier to see what's going on. Mung bean, looking good. I'm seeing tails on just about everything in here. So most of these are sprouting out, 10 years old. Broccoli, excuse me, nothing. So the broccoli isn't doing anything. It's really actually kind of smelling, so I'd call this a failure. Radish. We are starting to get some tails on the radish. It is taking longer than usual, okay? So this is taking longer because it's 10 years old, but they are sprouting. So at least some of them are. And then alfalfa, same thing. We got tails on them. Taking a little bit longer, but I'm starting to see a lot of tails. So I don't know if we'll get, how much of a percentage we'll get to sprout, but you can always just pick them out once they do it. So I'm going to drain these now and rinse them another once or twice more, and then we'll put them back down. So it definitely is taking longer to sprout. So you probably got to add another extra night or two of rinsing for these 10-year-old, but looks like it's working for most of them except the broccoli. Broccoli, I'm just going to throw that whole bag out because it doesn't look like it's any good anymore. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Okay, it's actually 2 nights later. I forgot to check in last night, so it's 2 nights later. Let's take a look at what we got here. So I added water to all 3. It's easier to see with the water in. Here's the alfalfa. There's definitely a significant amount that didn't sprout, but there's a lot that did. So it's getting full. It might be ready tomorrow. Mung bean. Most of the mung beans, it looks like, sprouted. I don't see very many that didn't. So mung bean is a champ. Looks like it's going to be as far as the percent sprouting after 10 years. Pretty impressive. And then lastly, radish. Definitely some that didn't sprout, but there's a decent amount that did. So you have to do a little work separating them out when this is done, but there's a decent amount that did for radish. So not too bad after 10 years. Now normally this would have been ready last night, so they're definitely, I think we can see the pattern that if it's old, it's going to take 2 or 3 more days for it to sprout out. So that's definitely a lesson learned, but it's still doing it. It just takes a little longer. All right, so we'll check in tomorrow night, and I think it'll be ready to take out of the jars tomorrow night. I don't think it's quite there yet. It's getting there. It's almost ready though. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So our final results, again, I have water in it, it's just easier to see. Mung bean did very well. There's definitely some unsprouted seeds in there, but not much. I'd say at least 75–80% of the sprouts seeded after 10 years. So I would conclude mung bean is a great long-term storage for sprouting. And I'm going to order a bunch of it because this is pretty impressive. Radish. There's definitely a lot more unsprouted, but it's going to take a little more work to separate the unsprouted seeds from what's sprouted, but there is some food there. It's pretty significant, I would say. So radish, not bad. Not as good as mung bean, but not bad. Then alfalfa, I'd say that had the lowest results, but you get some food out of that. I'd say 50% or less of the seeds sprouted. So, not terrible. Take a lot more work to separate the unsprouted seeds, but that's still not terrible. So in conclusion, long-term storage of sprouting seeds is definitely a viable option. You just have to figure out which ones are going to do it. There's a lot of different sprouting seeds out there, so these are just a sample, but mung bean is a pretty common one. So I say this is the second time I've done this, and mung bean performed exactly the same both times. So did these other ones, really. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you want to support the channel, there's some Amazon links. You can check the pricing of mung beans on Amazon. And hopefully that helps you out. See you later.